everyone, welcome back to Inside the Mind of a Fighter. Today's episode will be featuring Anthea Paton. Was that how I say your last name?
Yes.
Awesome. Now, today we'll be reacting to one of her pro kickboxing fights that she had up against, do you know your opponent?
Gemma Bayard, I think her name is.
Gemma Bayard. Now, give us a quick backstory before we get into the fight. Was it here in Melbourne or?
No, this one was in Queensland. So this was the first and only fight that I got to travel interstate. And it was, I think it was pretty late notice. I think we only had like maybe 2 weeks or something notice for this one. And yeah, we flew up to Queensland. And
what was that like, fighting interstate, fighting somewhere else that you're not really used to?
Took a little bit more in terms of planning, in terms of like the weight cut and stuff like that, but I didn't actually have to cut that much. It was probably the heaviest I've ever fought kickboxing. So there wasn't a huge amount of weight to cut. I didn't need to sauna or anything like that, which was lucky because it would have been quite difficult to do that. Yeah, so that was the only thing really, is just the navigating around the weight cut.
Fair enough. Now, one more thing before we get into it. Before you fought with any of your fights, was there anything that you did motivation-wise or a certain thing that you did during the day that would motivate you going into it?
Motivate me?
Or something that makes you feel calm?
Okay, so yeah, I love fight week. I always loved fight week. It was like the week leading up to Christmas for me. Because I personally enjoyed the weight cut process. I always felt really good because you'd be really lean and really ripped.
Yeah.
You'd have a bit less training, so you got a bit more rest. And then the day before, when you're doing the cutting part when you're not eating, that's when I would take the time to do myself over. So I would get my hair done, get my nails done, do my tan, all that kind of stuff.
Is
so
that process fun?
Oh, I loved it. It was because for me, the fight is the show part. It's the culmination of all your hard work, and you're just putting on a show, and if you've done everything right, you shouldn't feel nervous. You shouldn't feel there's anything missing, that you've done everything you can do, and this is the fun part. So that was how I stayed calm. That was my ritual before going into the fight, was doing all that kind of stuff.
That's awesome. Now let's get into it. Now, in this fight, across from you, if I'm not mistaken, correct me if I'm wrong, is John Wayne Parr.
Yes.
Now, what was that like, fighting against a notable individual?
Well, I didn't know that he was there until right at the end. I didn't know he was there until right at the very end. I actually don't know if he was there the whole fight. He may have been.
But do you mean at the end of the fight?
At the end of the fight. I didn't know he was there until I was going over there to shake hands, and I had a massive fangirl moment. I was like, oh my god, that's John Wayne Parr.
Yeah. Did you look at his fights when you were younger and getting into the scene?
Yeah. So Dion had me watch lots and lots of kickboxing fights, and quite a few of them were his from the Japanese tournaments.
Yeah.
And I loved all his fights. His fights were fantastic. So yeah, massive fangirl moment when I realized that he was there.
Now you're seeing your opponent walk towards the ring, for that matter. What do you feel at this point? Are you kind of looking at her, or you just focused, zoned in? What's your mentality?
Super zoned in. I had always adopted the kind of mentality of just feeling nothing, because when you feel things, you expend energy. And I had disciplined myself to doing that through training. So, all the sparring sessions that I'd done over the years, that's where I'd learned to do that. And yeah, I even adopted, a nickname. Just asked Jaden, he would say that I had the best resting bitch face. But that was just how I dealt with it. When you're about to spar, people that are potentially going to hurt you, you have to be really, really focused, and you have to put all your energy on what you're about to do. You can't think about anything else. You can't be anywhere but exactly where you are right then and there. And that's what I did when I was in a fight. I was just there.
Yeah. At this point, your name's getting called out, you're about to fight. Dion's in your corner. Is he telling you anything before the fight happens, or he's just letting you do your thing?
Nah. There was no talking. It was just, you know, all the talking's been done. The game plan's been set if there was one, and you know, I'm just focusing on my breathing and
Do you reckon breathing plays a big factor?
Massive, yeah,
Massive?
huge, especially in staying calm and things like that, and keeping your heart rate down. And that was a big thing for me, because obviously, like, you know, my fitness was one of my strengths. And
You trained a lot, right?
I trained a lot, and yeah, but just being able to control the breath and not get yourself very worked up makes a huge difference in a fight.
Did you do specific breathwork training, or just in general, just like for your own?
Like, I mean, I was a singer for years before I, you know, entered this life, and I think that's probably helped a lot in terms of me understanding the breath and diaphragm and things like that. Easy, and so yeah, that's potentially helped, you know, in that respect. Yeah, I think that definitely makes a big difference.
Now, at this point, you're into the fight. Did you have any pro experience before this fight? Or was this your very first pro?
This was my last pro kickboxing fight that I had.
So you had pro kickboxing fights prior to this?
Yeah.
Now, from from what you felt and all that, in training you're using shin pads, but in the fight there's obviously no shin pads.
Yeah.
Does this play a factor when you're fighting, or like the first instances when you're engaging with the opponent? You don't even think about it.
No, you don't think about it, not at all. I mean, I'd already seen her in the weigh-in, so I knew what she looked like, and my first thought was, oh yes, nice chunky legs to
Yeah.
kick.
Did you like your leg kicks back then?
Oh yeah, yeah. Low kicks were definitely one of my favorite moves.
Yeah.
And one that I trained a lot as well. So, and I definitely made good use of that in this fight.
Now, John Wayne Parr is a notable individual for his Muay Thai and whatnot, and I'm sure this fighter that you're fighting has got very good Muay Thai. Did you feel that she was at that high level, that she felt that John Wayne Parr pedigree, or did you feel like your clinching and everything like that was fine?
I didn't feel like I was out of my depth in any way, shape or form. Yes, she was a Muay Thai fighter, but I was an MMA trained fighter, and my experience, you know, in the ring, so the cage, definitely
helped out,
a lot with that.
Jump in, Alice. Come, jump in.
Got her babysitter. She needs some entertainment, I think.
Now, does the atmosphere play a big factor within the fight?
No, I don't really notice it. There could be one person in the crowd. There could be lots of people in the crowd. You know, I don't really notice it till like the end of a fight. You know, when you're standing there and you're hearing all the noise.
Even when you fought at Melbourne Pavilion and all that, like a venue to that degree, like a large scale?
I think it makes more of a difference before the fight, not really during the fight. Like, it, you know, heightens the mood, I guess, before you go into the fight. I didn't really feel, I just got knocked over.
Did she charge you there?
I don't know, I can't remember. I actually don't remember that at all.
That's an interesting one. But going into the fight, saying that you normally feel it before the fight, what do you feel? What is it that you feel from the audience? From
energy. I think it's an energy. Yeah, so especially if, you know, there's a big crowd and there's lots of noise, it heightens the energy. It sort of ups the ante, I guess, in terms of, you know, the fight itself, when it's just the ring. And I mean, for any of us that have done Lilydale fights, you know, and you've gone there and you've fought and there's like 2 people sitting in the crowd, you have to create that energy yourself, whereas in a pro fight arena, the energy is created for you.
100%. Now, first round's done. What are you feeling at this point? You're talking with Dion at this point, he's giving you a few advice. Do you remember what he said, if anything?
I'm pretty sure it was just keep doing what you're doing.
Keep doing what you're doing?
I think it was working. I mean, the idea was to use combos and finish with a low kick, and I'm pretty sure that was what was happening.
Going into the second round, you feel more comfortable as opposed to the first round?
Yeah, definitely. Like, I knew what to expect from her.
You felt like she wasn't threatening you with much? Or she didn't have much to offer, for that matter?
Oh, she definitely was a formidable opponent. You know, she worked me hard. I wasn't afraid. I felt like I could handle what she was going to throw at me. So it wasn't that I was worried about anything. I felt like I could handle whatever was coming.
Is there anything that sticks out to this fight or notable about this fight, whether it's before, during, or after, that one thing that sticks out that makes you smile or you find really funny that you can share with us?
I'm trying to remember.
Because at the end of the day, you traveled interstate. I'm sure there was some crazy moments.
Yeah, I mean, look, there's a lot of clinching. I hadn't actually done a professional Muay Thai fight before, I don't think. And even if I had, it wasn't like this one because she was a Muay Thai fighter, so it was a very Muay Thai fight. And I got to have a lot of fun with knees and clinching, which I never usually got to do. And I really enjoyed that.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So you like throwing your knees? And
Oh
whatnot?
yeah,
That was
I
fun.
love being able to use my body weight, love being able to do the wrestling side of it, which is why I like MMA so much as well.
Do you reckon it'd be cool, like in the future, like what goes through your mind that when she gets older and she starts understanding everything a lot more, seeing that her mum fought?
Yeah, I think it's sick.
Yeah.
That
would
is
you
awesome.
show her your fights?
Oh,
and all that?
100%.
Would you let her do it?
Yeah. Yeah, if she wants to.
When you were starting off in your martial arts career, it was a very, very male-dominant sport. There was a lot of males within it, and even in the gym, I remember when I was training there, you were the only female that stayed consistently and throughout. What was it like being the only female in those times? I guess when it wasn't normalized.
It never really bothered me. If anything, it drove me more. I think if I'd been competing against other girls, I may not have risen the way I did. I had to build myself to a level that was beyond what Dion thought was capable of a female because there was no females to contend with. So I had to compete with boys.
Yeah.
And I think I wouldn't have ended up being as good as I was. I wouldn't have developed the way I did if I had been training with other girls.
Is there any advice or anything that you could say for younger girls that want to start up martial arts, but I guess are kind of scared of that stigma that they're female?
Just do it.
Just do it?
Just do it. Do it because you enjoy it. Do it because it makes you feel good. Do it because you're learning amazing skills, not because of, whether you're female or you're male or, what's meant to be for male or female. I don't really believe in gender stereotypes like that. And I want to make sure she understands that, girls can do anything, guys can do anything, do whatever you set your heart to, whatever you set your mind to, and it just takes hard work. That's it.
For sure. Now, as you're nearing the end of your martial arts career, you started to see the uprise of females such as Ronda Rousey and all the females that were coming up. What was that like, seeing that they were more in the spotlight?
Yeah, it was unreal. So, Ronda Rousey was around for most of my career. She started getting big during my amateur career, and then there was a lot of other girls that came out of the woodwork during that time as well, like Rose Namajunas. She's still around now. She's my favorite. She's unreal.
Yeah.
And I remember watching her in TUF, the Ultimate
Ultimate
Fighter.
Fighter.
Yeah, she was in I think like the first or second season of the girls one of that when she was first developing as a fighter, and she was awesome then, and she's just continued to be amazing, and she's had a really interesting career.
Yeah.
And there's so many women in the sport now, and they are household names the way the men are, which is really cool.
Cool to see.
Yeah, back in my day, it was just Ronda Rousey. People really only knew who she was, and then when she was finally taken down by Holly Holm, and I remember when they announced that Holly was fighting Ronda, I was like, she's gonna win. I knew she was gonna win because I remember I actually watched some of Holly's fights. She started off as a boxer, and I think it was maybe like a year before she sort of went on the scene as a UFC fighter. She started getting up there. I remember watching her thinking, if anyone's gonna beat Ronda, it's gonna be her. And then when they announced that she was fighting Ronda, and they announced it was gonna be in Melbourne, I was like, what?
Did you get to go to it?
Yeah.
What was the
You
energy?
did? Oh,
I
you were
did.
too young.
No, I think I was there.
Oh, you were there?
But
You
I
were
wanted
there?
I wanted to get it from your end. What was the energy like there?
Oh my god.
Especially because they're main event.
It was amazing. I had for some reason become separated from the group, and I was like sitting or standing, like I think in an aisle, and I remember just watching and just going absolutely nuts and just screaming, I knew it! I knew it."
The energy was wild in there, especially when it happened. I remember like the feeling. The feeling was crazy.
It was so good, and you could just tell like Rhonda wasn't in the place where she had been for previous fights. You could tell that, and you could tell that Holly was at her absolute best. She was so confident and went out there knowing exactly what she was going to do, and that head kick, and it was just all over.
Amazing, right? Now, I'm sure after her win, it was crazy, but after this win that you just had, what was the feeling like there? What was going through your mind? What happened afterwards?
After the fight?
Yeah.
Oh, look, it was such a good fight. They were really, really nice. It was, and the highlight was meeting John Wayne Parr for sure. Like massive fangirl moment. I was just losing my shit in the corner. I remember after I went over to her corner, you know, as soon as the fight ends, that's what you do. You swap corners. You go, you know, thank the coach and stuff like that. And I just remember being like, I'm such a fan. I'm such a fan. And I think I got a photo with him. I can't really remember. And then I went back to my corner, and my partner and Dion were both there, and I was like, oh my god, there's John Wayne Parr. There's John Wayne. So that was really cool.
That's an awesome feeling.
Yeah.
Now, video is finished. Is there anything that you'd like to add, or anything that you want to say to the camera, to the audience, from the perspective of a fighter that you'd like to share? Any advice for let's say for an up-and-coming girl that's fighting in the martial arts scene?
Just stay consistent. Just stay consistent and have a plan. Have a plan and be able to see what you want to achieve. And I think that was the biggest thing for me. When I first started, I could clearly, you know, envision.
Yeah,
that's the word I'm looking for. I could clearly see myself as a pro fighter. I could clearly see it, and I had given myself a set. Oh,
she's not allowing it.
No, it's not.
There we go.
I gave myself a set amount of time to get it done as well. Like I said, all right, I've got till I'm 30. If I haven't made it by then, all right, I'll leave it. And I was 25 at the time when I started, so I was pretty late starting to this sport as well.
Yeah.
And I just committed myself 100% to it.
Awesome.
Just commit.
Awesome. Well, that's Inside the Mind of a Fighter. This is Anthea's episode. I hope you guys enjoyed that. All you young girls, young females out there, take on Anthea's advice. She's been there, she's done that, she's been through the journey. And as she said, just do it. Be consistent with it. She's trying to deal with her baby, which I feel very, very bad for. But other than that, I hope you guys enjoyed it and look after yourselves.